Bank is in 9 African countries and counting. You can watch this live on Equity page. You can also watch it on my Facebook Live at Koinange Jeff. And also the hashtag today is a new look Equity and also simply Equity. Now, send your questions in. It's going to be all about you, the customers, the members. Send your questions in. We'll read them live right here on Facebook Live. Joining me is the man I've known for many years who is as determined as any I've ever seen. A CEO who leads from the front. Equity Group CEO, Dr. James Mwangi. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Jeff.
Well done. Congratulations on 35 years.
Thank you, Jeff.
And it's been an incredible journey. And I was saying in the beginning, in my opening, people laughed when you guys, the building society, started 35 years ago. They're saying, oh, come on now. Who's going to bank the previously unbanked, the bottom of the pyramid? It's not possible. You said otherwise. You did otherwise.
That's true, Jeff. Our people supported us. We refused to give up, and we refused to give up the aspirations of our people. We were inspired by the dreams of our people. And I'm glad that 35 years later, most of those dreams have come true and continue to come true.
Did you think, Doctor, 35 years later, you would be where you are today? Did you think?
Jeff, we have never focused on who we ever become. We've just focused on solving problems, financial problems for our people. That has been the focus. Who we have become has been an outcome. But we focused on what we needed to do. And then 35 years later, we realize that the dreams that we supported have really propelled us to be who we are today.
Yeah.
We couldn't see it coming.
No. Talk to me about that event last Wednesday. I mean, the fireworks alone were incredible. I mean, KICC was lit up. What was that like? How did that feel?
Jeff, that is the impact that the entire 14 million membership of Equity have had in this country. It symbolized the impact 14 million people have in this country. If you look at the millions of jobs they have created, the millions of dreams that have been actualized, children educated, businesses set, manufacturing companies being started. That is what the fireworks were. That is the size of impact in our country and in our region now.
Dr. Let's talk about two things. One, the previously unbanked have been banked, so that's your base.
That's the greatest source of our pride.
But you're now looking ahead to a whole new constituency, if you will. You're looking at the youth.
Jeff, what has really changed most is the demographics in this country. We see the mean age is below 19 years. We see the dreams are no longer for the parents and grandparents. They're the dreams of this youthful population. They are better educated, they are better exposed, technology is with them, and those are the dreams that we want to support. And truly this change is inspired by the aspirations of the young people. And we truly believe that when all is said and done, Kenyans will look back and said it was good we brought this generation the way we did because they changed the course of our country.
So does that mean you've changed your philosophy, Datari?
No, it's all about changing lives and livelihoods. But what we have done is to enhance. We know this generation is not about paying school fees. That they can be able to do. With this generation is about driving the fourth industrialization. And it's about driving opportunities, high value opportunities. They want to be in value addition. They don't just want to produce food crops and agricultural produce. They want to process the agricultural produce. They don't want to export raw materials. They want to export finished products. They want to be in cutting edge technology. And that is what we want to include in our aspirations. That it's no longer just enough to change lives and livelihoods, but it is important that we help the young generation to transform the continent. And the continent can only be transformed by embracing new technology, by creating wealth in the continent.
But okay, having said that, Daktari, and that's a very noble effort, what happens to the base, the original base, the Mama Mboga who's not digital, who still has her Mulika Mwizi, who has no aspirations of going digital, and she may feel a little left out?
That is the foundation of our society, and that is the base of our civilization. And if you look, the essentials of equity has not changed. The fundamentals have not changed. We're truly focused on championing the transformation of lives and livelihoods of people. If you look at the change of the brand, we retained all the essentials. The colors of the brand never changed. All that we did was to acknowledge that times have changed. Initially, when Equity Building Society was formed 35 years ago, the greatest inspiration was to really build a home. Today, majority of Kenyans have homes and houses. What they really need now is to enhance the quality of life. They want to invest for their kids. They want to get the next generation to sit well with the future. And so that is why we are changing and saying technology has also immensely changed. We used to offer all our services within the branches. 97% of services are now online. We have virtualized them. And the billboards that we used to use around the roundabout are now more on social media. So we want a logo that can resonate with the realities of a digitized world. And that explains why. And also recognition that while the average age of our customer was Auntie Susie, now it is the nephews and the cousins that truly dominate the bank. And we can't ignore them. We need to become relevant to them, and we need to see the path that they have taken.
Yeah, Dr. You mentioned the logo. A lot of people have been questioning it, especially on social media. What does it mean? What does that logo mean?
Jeff, the original logo, as we said, was inspired to provide shelter to our people. It was 35 years ago. We were doing away with thatched grass houses. We were doing away with the semi-permanent building. We are over that age. However, two things stood out. That the colors that had been selected was an earth color, a brown color, and our complexion, a black color. We have retained those. It's all about us as a civilization. It's an evolution of civilization. And essentially what we have done is to say, let's broaden the opportunities of our people. Let's remove the walls, but let's retain a roof on top of our heads. But a modern roof that allows somebody to configure their dreams of the house that they want. We are no longer talking about residential houses. We are now talking of building and developing for consumers, not ourselves necessarily. So we have given everybody an opportunity to dream and to accommodate their dreams more openly, more broadly, and we're also recognizing that yes, we need an expansive house that is not restricted by walls, Jeff.
Okay, well done. So, how important will civic education be? Because, let's face it, when banks or institutions are rebranding, people take advantage. Let me give you a small example. Someone may call, again, your typical customer out in the villages and say, nipatie PIN number yako ile mzee, kwa vile tume rebrand, we're going to send you new PIN number. Stuff like that. How important is civic education?
Let me first of all confirm to the customers, nothing is changing from their own perspective. They retain their account numbers, they retain their PIN numbers, nothing is changing as far as they are concerned. This is more of an institutional outlook that is changing. It's the visuals that are changing. Nothing internal is changing. So essentially, I want to assure customers that there is no change, and look at them straight into the face and tell them not to fall into prey of fraudsters.
Absolutely. Other banks are merging and growing. Do you feel the heat? Do you feel they're catching up with the numbers you have?
Jeff, you talked about 9 countries. It's simply because we are spearheading the making of Nairobi as an African financial center. When we have 9 countries reporting to Nairobi, it means that by hopefully the end of this year, we'll have a balance sheet of $10 billion. $10 billion, Jeff, is equal to 10% of the size of the Kenyan economy, of the GDP of the country. And it's about a third of the budget of the country. That is how big equity is. So it is not just following, equity is spearheading and leading the transformation that we are seeing. In banking, size is becoming relevant because margins have collapsed. It's no longer about margins, it's about volume. Technology is becoming a major component in driving banking, and the unit cost of technology and risk management needs to be spread over a huge customer base. And that explains why we are acquiring the Atlas Mala and the BCDC in DRC, and hopefully 5 countries or 5 banks at one go will give us shoulder ahead of any bank in the region.
And 10 billion US is $1 trillion shillings.
It's $1 trillion shillings, the first balance sheet in the region. But however, Jeff, it's good to say it's $1 trillion shilling of our customers' assets. We'll be even more celebrating our customers having their assets reach $1 trillion shillings.
Yeah.
The biggest balance sheet. So again, it's the scale and scope of transformation that is occurring among our people.
All right, folks, it's all about you. So your questions coming in thick and fast. Hashtag again is a new look equity. Hashtag equity. We're live on the equity page right now. Questions. Let's go first to Kelvin Gashima. He's asking, Equity Bank is my question is, after rebranding, will Equity Bank have us youths access financial support in more easier ways than before in terms of loaning requirements?
This transformation and rebranding is coming with the transformation of our offering. The first thing that our clients will notice is 700 new ATMs that can offer the whole range of banking services that the bank offers. So essentially, it's like we are extending our branch network with 700 new branches, because the ATM replaces the branch. The interaction with the ATM will also be very different. The experience will be very different. We'll strengthen a lot where we are trying to converge the channels and the product offering, so the channels become agnostic, such that you can start your transaction in a branch and complete it on your mobile phone or your internet or ATM, such that all the essentials in terms of channels becomes the choice of the customer, the convenience.
Yeah.
So there will be huge changes that people will notice. We're now becoming completely biometric, that you can really protect yourself by ensuring nobody can ever have trick you even with your PIN number, because you transact using your biometric, and that again will be available. And hopefully before the end of the year, we shall have converted social media channels to become transaction channels for the bank, so that you don't have to keep on moving from one channel to the other. You really use the channel that is very familiar with you.
Yeah. Bona Nalugala is asking, M loans is killing youths. What's the way out? Why are M loans so expensive?
That's a very important question, and we've really pushed this because essentially by capping interest rate to 13%, what we really did is we moved our customers from 16-17% rate of interest to what we now see, mobile and telecom and fintech based loans that are in excess of 100%. We hope that wisdom will prevail and that essentially will either harmonize the mobile loans and fintech loans with bank. If regulation is to apply, let it apply to everybody. So that really, but for us at Equity Bank, we have chosen to really then create mobile loans that are regulated. And I want to guarantee anybody who is using Easy that the interest rate is a maximum of 13%, reducing balance, Jeff.
And someone was saying Easy has been down for a while, but they were still working on it?
Easy,
247.
Easy is not down, it's 247. But and I want to encourage people to easily take the Equity line. Essentially because with the Equity line, we're able to protect you because we put we have access to the secure elements in the SIM card. And essentially that also protects people from cyber crime that is associated with internet banking. So there is a room there for educating our customers.
Okay, Eric Nyaruki is asking, Jeff, on behalf of young people, unemployed ones at that, how can Equity Bank empower us with some soft loans, repayable annually, of course, with low interest rates, so that we can try our luck?
I just want to bring to everybody's attention that we have rolled out an opportunity with MasterCard and the Kenya government to create 5 million jobs in micro and small enterprises. And I'm glad that for the first time we've seen our loans grow by over 20% this year, simply because of the reach we are making to young people who are setting up. So I would really encourage all the young people who have dreams of self-employment using enterprises to approach their nearest brand. As we move on, we're also digitizing those loans, and micro and small loans by the end of this year will all be digitized, and one will be able to access them through their phones.
Absolutely. Keep the questions coming. The hashtag is a new look equity, hashtag also equity. We're live on the Equity page and also live on my Facebook page. Phineas Mario is talking about your logo, Daktari. He says, tell Daktari the new logo is a no. Kwanza, it looked like a house. Saa hii ni kama the house was demolished, wakabaki na roof too.
Truly, I'm really glad that as a customer who was before can associate with the brand. It means that the essentials of the brand has retained as we progressed and made the brand simpler and more dynamic. So I'm really glad that he sees his house, he still sees his color. But for those who are not associated with the brand, let me also explain to our clients that we have globalized this bank. We are today Kenya's largest multinational, carrying the brand of the nation to 10 countries, including Ethiopia, where we have a rep office. And essentially, we needed a brand that could resonate globally, a brand that can sit well with the digital world that we exist today, and a brand that can stand the test of time and is versatile, particularly on social media billboards.
Yeah. Speaking of social media, someone here is asking, where are they? Bona is asking, why isn't Dr. Mwangi on Twitter?
I talked about Jeff today. That's really we are playing on that. But basically, what I do is that I use the bank handle. So all the interactions with the bank, and essentially, I didn't want to build a parallel brand from the bank brand because I'm the face of the bank.
Okay. Mohammed Abdi asking, how come Equity Bank hasn't opened a Sharia compliant window to tap into the millions of Muslim customers in the country?
Jeff, it's good to say we have got principal approval for rolling out Sharia compliant bank. We're now sourcing staff, and we are sourcing the council that will be responsible, because we truly want to give a Sharia compliant banking experience.
Okay, again, you young people are asking lots of questions. Eugene Lumumba, Dr. Mwangi should look for people like us. We have ideas in business, but no funds for us, no access to banks. What do we do? How can you help us?
Eugene, what we really need to do is to partner. You have ideas and we have funding. We need to ensure the two merge. Great ideas, great funding, and then we see the great idea becomes reality. And hopefully, through Eugene, we'll employ maybe 100 young people.
Absolutely. Keep the questions coming, folks. You know the hashtag, a new look equity, also hashtag equity. We are live with Dr. James Mwangi, Group CEO, Equity. I tell you, 35 years later. And let's not forget, oh, by the way, if someone walks into an equity branch right now, what has changed physically once they walk in? What's changed?
Essentially, the new logo is donning the walls of all the branches. We were lucky that we were able to change them overnight. So there's no branch that carries the wood logo. The second thing they will see is that we have also changed our branding as staff, our image, our grooming in line with the new brand. Essentially, we have outsourced most of the transaction work to our agents, and so we have taken the professional job of being advisors to our clients. So our image now is of professional advisors to the bank. So the second thing is that in the cognition about the youthful generation, we have also changed the way we dress up. For the first time, I think you walk to our branches, you see our lady staffs in trousers. You see we have increased the colors. We used to have black, gray, and blue. We now have 7 colors, including dark green. And if you look at the tops, we have gone purple, we have gone orange, and everything that lightens and that the youth prefer.
So you're saying before women couldn't wear trousers at Equity?
Brand was very conservative, Jeff. It was a very strong brand. And we have eased even the way we are grooming now.
Huh, I didn't know that.
The image of the bank is not just the logo. Everything has changed. And we endeavor particularly to change the experience. We want the customers to test us on the experience. That is where the change will truly be. It may take a little bit of time, but by the end of this year, Equity will be very different from the experience of our customers.
Yeah, there's lots of congratulatory messages coming through, by the way, Dr. Tariq. Congratulations on 35 years. Gladys Muhalia says, way to go, proud of you, Equity Bank. And then Mike Kwan, he says, how can I transfer my money from M-Pesa to my fixed savings account?
Thank you, Jeff. One of the biggest issues that will be solved is interaction with our customers. In the past, if you wanted a loan, you opened a new account. If you wanted a fixed deposit, you opened an account. If you want a saving, a current account, well, now we are unifying all this. It's going to be an equity experience. And that's why we have dropped in the new logo, we have dropped banking, insurance, because we want to offer a basket of financial services. So essentially, it becomes now easy to link. We have linked M-Pesa. As you know, we are working on a partnership with Safaricom on M-Pesa provisions. That linking has been done. And then going forward, you'll be able to open the account for fixed deposit without coming to the bank.
Your target market in this rebranding, your target, is it the young university graduates? Is it people who are starting their first job? Who are those you're targeting, right? I know it's youth mostly, but
we are targeting our community. There is a place for everybody. Remember, Jeff, we are the world's most inclusive bank. So there will be a place for everybody. However, we recognize the majority of our population and our community and society as youth people. So there will be a bias towards accommodating the youth in all their needs. And what we realize is that they are highly educated, jobs are becoming scarce, so we want them to not to be job seekers, but job creators. So we want to lead and support them in their entrepreneurial journeys.
Okay, someone is asking, you only give loans to working class. Why not jobless youth?
The biggest loan portfolio we have is of farmers. And agricultural financing is the most difficult because of the weather patterns. And the fact that we have been able to crack agriculture already, we believe the youth is even easier. 92% of all our loans are now accessed online through the mobile phone. And the bulk of that, I would say 80% of that is by the youth. I wish to invite our youth to try us on easy.
Okay, William Masine is asking the question for Dr. Mwangi. What are you doing about a replacement? Your replacement, because we don't want to see Equity Bank collapse one day.
Thank you very much, Masina. I think, Masina, one, Equity has 13 companies. I'm only in one company, Equity Group Holding. I'm not in the board of any of the subsidiaries. So I retired a long time, and I'm now just an advisor and a coach to my youthful leadership team. So that's the role, and I'm spending most of my time now more in the foundation, extending and scaling the impact of our foundation, because we have realized we can't solve all society's problem commercially. There is a huge opportunity for reaching out to gifted but deserving population that is not able to take financial solutions.
Yeah, you're saying Equity concentrates so much on customers, yet they forget their workers' welfare.
I'm not sure about that, Jeff. Maybe I need to shed a little bit of light on that. If we look at our staff, I would say that contrary to perception, because these are more confidential things, our staff get mortgages for 25 years at 6%. Essentially, it means almost everybody who is 35 years have a house, and they're paying just half of what anybody else would be paying. If we look at our staff, they are co-owners. We collectively, staff, we own 17% of this institution. I would like anybody to ever mention of where staff own jointly, collectively, 17% of a company worth $2 billion. Jeff, that's we are talking about staff owning a portion in excess of 30 billion shillings. The second thing is people need to look at what matters most. Things like medical. If we look at the comprehensiveness of our medical schemes. And lastly is our salaries. The reason why we attract and retain, and I want to challenge the customers to notice that our branch managers are like permanent and pensionable, all of them. They never move. It's simply because of the attractive terms.
Okay. Yeah. Jenga Wamabati says, I am a royal member. I have tried to book an appointment with you, Dr. Ari, for 3 years. I'm a royal member.
Can we invite him as we have coffee after this?
If he's watching,
Jenga, kindly join us. We'll be having coffee with Jeff after noon.
You can join us.
You can join us.
You know, Dr. Ari, you have to mention Wings to Fly in all this, because I think that has transformed an entire generation. Kids who never ever thought they would get an education, let alone end up at Harvard, Stanford, you know, you name the Ivy League universities, and you know, I know something about them. So these are kids who never ever imagined they would end up there.
Jeff, I'm very, very proud of what the 14 million customers has done in transforming their lives, in making their dreams come true. And a scale of almost $1 trillion shillings, 10 countries, is something that is significant, and we celebrate. But let me acknowledge that the foundation seems to have done even more within a very short period. One, we have managed to convert 680,000 peasant farmers into agribusinesses, making their agricultural practices sustainable, scalable businesses that are now active in the economic space and the marketplace. But it is the social component of thinking about the underprivileged. We have 1.1 million households that now receive their stipends, whether it's social payments from UN agencies or from the government through Equity Bank, in a dignified way, Jeff, that they don't have to be subjected to what we used to go through. and the freedom they have of using their social payments the way they want. The second aspect is, of course, is the Wings to Fly. The Wings to Fly is a phenomenon project that has given so far 16,158 kids an opportunity to access education like any other child. And this is a very comprehensive scholarship. It covers their school fees, it covers their uniform, it covers their medical, it covers their shopping, it covers their transport, and more importantly, it covers their coaching and mentoring and parenting like any other child. And as a result, we realize that while the transition rate for the nation is only 13% of Kenyan children are able to go to university, 84% of all the Wings kids end up transiting to university. 7 times better results than the national average. So essentially, with 20,000 scholarships, the net effect is like we educated 140,000 kids. But as you rightly said, we now have 519 of these young gifted kids in Ivy League schools. Harvard has now 36, Stanford has 28, Yale has 24. We have helped to develop a future generation of leaders who are globally exposed and have got the best education ever. The equity program sends more kids than any country in Africa. So the significance of this cannot really be underestimated.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to see what these kids will do.
I was about to ask you, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, where will they be?
I think they have started taking huge positions. We see, for instance, the Equity Leadership Program scholars are now taking national positions. Kenya Medical Association, the chief executive is, and then suddenly they have decided to give back, particularly by transforming health. Equity Afia has so far 10 clinics that has opened. And their ambition is to, by end of next year, they want to have 100 clinics. In 5 years, 5,000 doctors want to have set their own clinics and literally transform the health sector in this country. So the multiplier effect of the Wings to Fly and the Equity Leadership Program is bigger than any of us would imagine. And I can't wait to see what will happen when these kids are 40, 50 years old.
I hope we'll still be around it.
We pray God to continue to give us good health. Okay. And His grace is sufficient.
There you go.
It will guarantee us being there, Jeff.
Yes, indeed. A lot of customers, members, people watching right now are asking the question about cybercrime. What are you doing? What is Equity Group doing to curb cybercrime?
Thank you, Jeff. And I really want to assure our clients, we have been able to fortify the bank from cybercrime. The biggest challenge we have is social engineering against our customers, where our customers are called and they are manipulated. The bank will, I want to assure them, the bank will never call them. If individual customers can really protect themselves by not falling prey to manipulation, then we'll be able to secure all of them, like we have secured the bank. The bank has not had any challenge. Where we really have is customers being manipulated.
Mungai Wamutego is asking, is technology taking over jobs from people? Because walking into an equity bank can be very stressful. It seems you are downsizing.
Well, really not downsizing. It's the economy that has been completely transformed by technology. While we might have lost about 3,000 cashiers in the bank, we have created 46,000 cashiers within the agents. It is the jobs that are being redefined. It is really the corporatization that is taking place. When you look at 16,000 merchants, they also have cashiers that manage. All that would have initially been in banking, but now it has been decentralized through the corporatization. That is really what is happening.
Bottom line, in 10 years, or 15, let's say, when you turn 50, the bank, where do you want to be?
Truly, Jeff, as we could not have seen it 35 years ago where we'll be. The only thing I know is Equity will have exceeded 100 million customers. It will have exceeded 15 countries, and it will be able to serve at least 1.2 billion of Africans' population. The second thing is that I know for sure equity will significantly be defining our civilization. Why? Because it's grounded among the people. Equity is a community institution. It is defining as a society who we are and shaping the civilization we are creating as a people.
Got about 15 minutes to go, folks, for the interview. Keep your questions coming. Again, the hashtag is a new look equity. Also use the hashtag equity. Live on equity page and also live on my Facebook page. Mwangi is asking, what products, new products, are you rolling out for the youth?
Thank you, Mwangi. There will be very many products for the youth. But the most essential thing is that we'll give the youth the chance to create their own products. Essentially, loans will now eventually be customized to the individual. It's no longer a tier mortgage. It is a housing product for the customer. And it will be designed, the period, the amount will be significantly determined by the applicant. It's no longer where we crafted product and sold. It's no longer going to be supply driven. It will be demand driven. So we'll meet the demand of our customers as they come, and it will boil down to the individual's demand. That is what our objective will be, to meet that individual customer. So we might have 14 million different products multiplied by the number of products each of the 14 million customers will be consuming. On average, we expect them to consume 4, so that gives us about 56 million different products.
A lot of questions coming in from young people. Everyone wants a loan today. Look, people are applying today, let's say digitally, on their phone, right? Does it still the same system as it was in the beginning? No introducer, no minimum, all those requirements?
And essentially, even more importantly, it's online, even including the account opening. You no longer need to go to the bank. You go on the platform, we're able to digitally validate the information, you apply for the loan, and you start consuming services. What we have done, Jeff, is to compress time and geography. And lastly, we've given the power to the customer.
Lots of congratulatory messages again. Nancy Gasheri says, congratulations, Dr. James, you have brought equity far. Ian Gituku says, amazing work by Equity Bank. The multiplying effect will be greater than all of us in the next 40 to 50 years. Yose Mbuyu says, this guy is a genius. Oh, here's another one. Karyanjahe Kapura says, I wish you were the president of this country. You have contributed a lot to the growth of Kenyan economy. And I asked you these questions many times, Dr. Would you ever venture into politics?
Jeff, my calling is changing lives and livelihoods. And I seem to have a gift in the financial space. And essentially, by, for instance, focusing on our youth, looking and empowering our youth, we're creating a better generation, maybe better presidents than I would ever be. I would really ask Kenyans to allow me to really focus on what I truly believe I'm good at. Then we develop and build presidents together. Presidents will be determined by what happens in the dream. There are many people, Jeff, with dreams and aspirations of being president. What we need to do is to empower them to achieve those aspirations. And me and you continue doing what we are best at.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Is Kenya at a good place right now, Dr. Ari? Or is still a lot of knots to tie, a lot of things to do? Are we at a good place?
The greatest opportunity in life is of improvement. Even if Kenya is in a good place, Kenya can improve much better because our dreams are bigger than what today we have. So I would say collectively we can change Kenya. Each of us has the power of one, and we can determine what Kenya is. Kenya is an aggregate of 50 million people. If our value systems are in the right place, then Kenya would be in a better place, because we would hold ourselves to our value systems, and our socio-moral compass would then hold us to account. If all of us were giving our very best, and if all of us were operating at the optimal level, our country would be globally very competitive. So each of us has an opportunity to improve and improve the country, because the country is an aggregation of all of us. Our policies can improve, our government can continue to improve, our institutions, including equity, can continue to improve and become more competitive and really drive the global agenda, and hopefully create our country with resources outside our boundaries.
And again, in this day and age of digital, everything is going online and digital. What do you say to reassure your base, the ones who have been with you for 35, from day one, mashinani, out there, most unreachable places? What do you tell them to assure them that you still have them, you still have their back?
Jeff, you can never change your foundations. We're not going to change our purpose, our vision, and our mission. Our purpose is really to champion the socio-economic transformation of our people. Our people are everywhere. The second aspect is to be as inclusive to ensure nobody is left behind. Those in Mashinani, the refugees in Dadaab, and the other refugee camps, we want to carry them on board. All those are part of our society. Remember, equity is close to a definition of our civilization. Each of us needs to be counted for our civilization to be complete. We need not to leave any Kenyan behind. Each Kenyan has a role to play. That is my commitment to our people, that equity will remain who it is, but will prepare for the future of our children. And what we are going through is preparation of equity, more for our children, to widen their opportunities and to increase the depth of our capabilities. And I can only promise that the future will be certainly much better for all of us.
And for those who are joining us late, Daktari, you were talking about the new look equity earlier on, and maybe they missed that. Explain why the new look, why the new logo?
Jeff, once again, when we started, the greatest aspiration of our people were to move after independence from crashed houses, temporary housing, to really putting a roof over our heads. Over the 35 years, a lot has really changed. One, we see that the basics have been met. We're now being inspired by much broader things. The second thing is that the demography of our population have changed. The level of education, almost all our children with free primary and secondary day secondary education, we bet all our children will be educated. We need to accommodate them, and we need to move with the times. When you look at technology offering, we started equity on ledger cards and passports. We've moved on. We computerized that. Now we are moving from the computer era to the digital era. And all this is what is prompting us to say equity has changed so much, but the symbol of equity has not changed. And we are just fine-tuning and refreshing the symbol in form of a logo to come into conformity with the changes that we have seen. We were technically insolvent. We were very rural-oriented. We were very Kenya-centered. We're now a Pan-African brand with the aspiration of being in 10 countries by the end of this year. We have signed with Atma and DC acquisition of 5 banks, and we're asking ourselves, what would be the best brand to take to Ethiopia? How will it resonate with the Ethiopians? But as soon as you flaunt a house, everybody thinks you are a building society, you are a mortgage company. We are saying, let's be universal so that we accept. We retain what made us great, but change to accommodate the future that we all are aspiring to.
In Ethiopia, we're talking about 100 million people, right?
Make the brand very dynamic. Make it future proof.
Yeah.
And more importantly, simplify it. Make it. Equity is now a top of mind brand. Equity need not to be elaborate on law. Equity needs to be elaborate in what it's offering. It has been about it's a brand that is in sync with its people.
Paul Onyango says Kenyans have complained about losing money from their bank accounts. Ebu Jibuhi.
Thank you very much. Jeff, it's true. Kenyans are losing funds to, particularly on mobile platforms and internet platforms. But it's because Kenyans have become very gullible. They are being manipulated. It's social engineering. It's not that banking systems are any wrong. It is the individual who is called and he responds while constantly every day. The education we make to our customers is that the bank will never call you. The bank will never ask you for your PIN. The bank will never on phone be able to engage on what should be very confidential. So I just want to say we can bring this to an end by the way we react to fraudsters. We don't need to be manipulated by fraudsters. If really there is a call, keep the phone down and call your branch using the number you know. And the branch manager will say, we haven't called because we never call to tell people to put their PINs.
Yeah, just have to be. Civic education is important.
It's literally people accepting, not to be gullible.
Yeah. Again, more congratulatory messages coming in thick and fast. Marama Wabukura says, my bank, my money. Frank Gadu says, Mwangi is an inspiration to a majority of us. I admire his zeal and energies. We have a few more minutes left. Keep your questions coming. Lots of questions about the logo as well, and you explained what it's all about. It's not just...
Jeff, we can say again, retained our heritage, retained the purpose for which Equity stands. That has not changed. We have not changed our vision, but our outlook. We need to be more versatile. We need to be more dynamic. We need to be more digital because that's who we are. So we are just enhancing and refreshing our outlook to connect with who we are.
Great. Dr. Mwangi, I'd like you to look into this camera now and talk to your base, talk to your people 35 years later.
Looking at my customers pointing to theirs is to say how grateful I am. It's very humbling to have a following of 14 million customers. You have trusted us with your dreams. You have trusted us with our aspirations. We may not have fully met your expectations, but as you always know, we are humble enough to accept our shortfalls. And every day you inspire us with your feedback. We look forward to greater engagement. However, this far we have come. We've built our capabilities. We have now globalized our capabilities. We can only promise you that the future will be much better. Lastly, I want to assure you that nothing regarding the customer is changing in terms of outlook and perception of our customers. We guarantee you none of you will be left behind. However, we endeavor to make your engagement much better. We want to support your lifestyle. We want to make banking a part and parcel of a lifestyle. We'll make banking easy. We'll make banking convenient. Allow us also more to have a bias to accommodate our children because that is our future. The legacy we can give our children is an environment that enables them to dream big. Equity now, at its current size, has the capabilities and competencies to let our children realize those dreams and aspirations. That explains why we are becoming more digital, because we have brought a digital generation. They are natives in the digital world. And one of the things we need to do is to ensure that they can see their brand in their digital billboards. And that is why we are aligning and refreshing our brand so that we can share it with them. them in the on their social media billboards, while we have the brick and mortar in our villages. Our agents continue to deepen access, and our agents also will be refreshing the brand, and you'll be seeing it at the village level. It is an interaction. I want to thank you most sincerely, because together we have defined our the evolution of our civilization and our development as a community. Every community creates its own institutions. Every community defines its values. Every community creates an enabling environment for the next generation. Together, we have done well. I thank you most sincerely, and seek your continued support so that we continue to shape our destiny. Thank you.
Dr. There's no way I can let you go without asking you, is there a mentorship program at Equity? Do you
Equity has started the Equity Leadership Program. We take 700 kids every year, of the best girl and the best boy in every sub-district. Combine them with the A students from the Wings to Fly program, and we mentor and coach them in the hope that we are defining and shaping the future leadership of this country. That's the team that we give internships, and during the 1 year internship, we mentor, we coach them. At the Wings to Fly, we coach and mentor them during the Congress Week that we annually hold for them. And then we coach them on career progression and opportunities around the world. And I'm really glad that so far we've been able to send 519 of our best kids to the best universities in the world. The next generation, Jeff, will certainly be better than us.
Yeah. Quick question from South Sudan. This is Dr. James Mwangi. Congratulations. You need to do something about the South Sudan branch.
We're doing everything. South Sudan branch would have, a subsidiary would have been better, but remember we are contextualizing this to the situation that in South Sudan. We had very robust initiative to support the business community, but we all know that the peace situation in Sudan continues to be a challenge for business. But together with the Sudanese people, we can make South Sudan a better country.
Dr. James Mwangi, as always, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. I know you're a busy man. You have so much you're doing. Congratulations on 35 years. And we'll see you at the 50th anniversary.
Thank you very much, Jeff, and thank you for allowing us to interact with our customers this morning.
Absolutely. Keep sending your questions or comments. Hashtag is A New Look Equity. Also use the hashtag Equity. Thanks so much for being a part of this Facebook Live with Equity Group CEO, Dr. James Mwangi. I hope you learned a lot. We may not have answered many of your questions, but we did answer those we can in as candid way as Dr. Mwangi could. Thanks again. Appreciate it. Have a good day. God bless everybody.
Thank you very much.